Nadine Kanso, welcome to the show. Did I say that right?
My name is Kanso with a qaf.
Yeah.
And most people say Anso.
So what made you go from being behind the camera to sort of creating pieces of art?
After 9/11, I felt people are not naming their kids Arabic names and they were shying away from their identity. And that kind of like really upset me.
So how many pieces of jewelry do you actually own?
Oh my God.
Like, give me a number.
I'm not going to tell you.
You're a man's nightmare when it comes to gifting.
I am.
So is imitation flattery? For you, it is or it isn't?
That's pure evil. That's not flattery. If you imitate me today, I'll make sure.
You won't live.
That too.
I will kill you.
No. We're going to be BFFs
Yeah,
after this session.
I'm going to get a lot of free jewelry, so I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
If I showed you a photo, could you tell the difference between if a human took it or if it was AI?
I hope.
Would you put a piece of jewelry on it? Hello everyone and welcome to Inside Track with me, Luca Allam. Today's guest, she is a photographer first and foremost. She then decided to create some very nice pieces of jewelry and she launched a collection and a business called arabi. It's specialized in beautiful pieces of work inspired by Arabic calligraphy.
You just like drift. And you don't realize until maybe a few days later that something came out of this drifting and this thinking and this like detachment. When you choose a piece of jewelry with a word, whether it's hope, love, or togetherness, that means that you're choosing that. And when you choose that, that means you believe in hope.
Nadine Kanso, welcome to the show. Did I say that right? Kanso?
Yes, Kanso with a qaf. But
Ka.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, pleasure.
It's a pleasure to be here. And looking forward for this conversation.
We're going to have a nice chat. Did you like my intro to you?
I loved your intro.
So you bought yourself a very nice espresso cup that has some chairs on it.
Yes.
Talk to me about this.
It's actually my little espresso mug. It has the Lebanese chairs on it, which is very typical of Lebanon, of the coffee places in Lebanon where you go, we play backgammon and all of that. Usually old people stay there, even younger, but now you can find more older people in these cafes.
Very nice.
So it's a nice nostalgic kind of a coffee cup. It doesn't have Turkish coffee in it, but...
Yeah, it will do. Arabic coffee is good enough. Is there a hole in one of the chairs that I can see?
Yes, because these are done with esh.
Things that are meshed together?
Meshed together.
Yeah.
And with time, because they don't change them much, and now more, so they don't produce much of them, people sit on them, and in the middle, with the weight and the time...
It's just...
It gets like, you know...
So slightly overweight people have been sitting on these chairs and
we're not
a bit of wear and tear.
That,
a bit of wear and
tear.
Yeah, there we go.
Definitely.
Look, really happy to have you on the show.
Thank you.
By the way, I love your look today. It's fantastic.
It's a very casual,
chic, but also chic.
It's the weekend.
It's the weekend. Kodak cap, owing to your roots, obviously as a photographer. And of course, I'm noticing a lot of bling. A lot of very nice pieces
I can't walk out of the house without my bling.
Yeah,
you know? It's me.
Yeah, 100%. On today's show, I want to talk to you a little bit about your family life and your background, but more importantly, what you kind of stand for, what you represent, and more importantly, where you see things sort of folding out in the future. And what is your take on the current world and what the world hopefully should look like in the near future?
That's intense.
It is intense, right?
The world is intense.
It is intense. And speaking of intensity, I also ask my guests on the show if they have a certain safe word. So if there's a question that they don't
Abort.
So your word is abort, is it?
No, I think we're going to be cool.
You're going to be all right?
Yeah.
Look, I'm a pretty easygoing kind of guy, I think. That's what I've been told.
I'll just jump out of
just
the chair.
leave. Yeah.
Bye, Luca.
That's a pretty good sign. Obviously, everything started for you with picking up a camera and having a sort of eye for detail. Why did you get into photography in the first place? What was the reason?
I took photography classes back in BUC at the time in Beirut, and I really liked that medium. It captures the moment, really like by the second of it, or a split of a second of it, and it's a memory. So with time, this is what I like to do. I did not pursue it much, but I've always had a dream of having my own exhibition. And this did not happen. You know, I got married, traveled to Canada, Prague. I took some pictures, but nothing major until I got to Dubai, where that dream kind of came true. I don't dream much, and I'm not the kind of person who thinks 5 years ahead or plan. I'm not that type. That's the creative part of me. That's the artist in me. So it's probably the only thing that I dreamt of and I made kind of happen, which is my photography.
What do you think about the piece of art behind you?
I love it. You guys did an amazing job.
Thank you very much.
You kind of combined everything together, so which is cool.
I have to tell you, it wasn't me. my wife does it. No,
You're not that artistic.
No, I'm not that artistic. I'm artistic. Actually, funny, we have something in common. I love words, right? So I'm a big wordsmith, and you'll see some of the questions later on. There's a bit of a play on words, but I'm not artistic in that kind of sense.
Yeah.
My wife is an artist. She does a lot of work, and she helped put this together.
Amazing. Well done.
It's a lot of pressure, especially when someone comes in like you, who's obviously into very fine things and the little details. So, we were sort of before you came on, just making sure everything looked okay. Aesthetically, is just looking good.
I'm pretty cool.
Yeah. You're easygoing.
I won't say like, okay, I'm gonna move your table now. This vase is not.
You couldn't. It weighs a ton. Honestly, I've tried to move this
with
thing.
friends, I do that, and then I realize that okay, I need to.
Yeah.
Just like.
In fact, we built the set around this table because we tried with the guys here off camera. We tried to lift it and push it back. We couldn't. So you know what? Let's build the set around the table.
It's a big table. It's a beautiful table.
That's what we did. But you're most famous now, obviously, for the business that you've launched.
Absolutely.
A long time ago now, right? 2006, you launched Addict.
Exactly.
Right? For those who don't know, it's you create fine pieces of jewellery using letters, using calligraphy.
I do use a lot of calligraphy, my own, and obviously typography and some classic Arabic font, which I've kind of worked on to make it mine. I also created 2 other fonts that I work with, depending on if it's the men's line or, the more graffiti kind of a thing, which is with enamel and color. So we produce with 3 different workshops. So we wanted to have, this kind of lettering for this workshop, this kind of, so it doesn't get all mixed up.
So what made you go from being behind the camera to sort of creating pieces of art?
Actually, the brand came to life not because I wanted to have a business or I wanted to have a brand. It actually came to life because of my photography. After 9/11, I felt that people are not naming their kids Arabic names and they were shying away from their identity, and that kind of like really upset me. And
the stereotypes that were created off the back of it, Islamophobia,
100%. The media was really like very tough on us, and it still is. Nothing has really changed much, especially when we see things happening
20 years plus on.
Exactly, which brings us back to, like, if we don't talk about our own identity, if we do not push that further, who's going to do that? Definitely not the West. So we might as well do that. In my photography, I was talking more about the socio-political issues, whether it be Beirut, whether it be even Dubai is more on the history and the duality of the city, of when I came here, how it used to be and now how it is. So the evolution of the city. So there's always these dualities in my work, whether it black and white and color, whether it be old and new, whether it be bold and soft. I don't know if it's part of my character that translates into my artwork, whether it be photography or jewellery, or, I need to say it.
But what sits at the back of everything is that immense pride that you have in this region.
100%,
the love for the country, the love for
100%.
Lebanon, the love for the region, the love, the Arabic heritage, the language, the culture.
Exactly.
And that's what you want to take to the world, and you want to do it in a very innovative but very Arab way.
Yeah, I do want to do that. And this is why when you look at my jewellery from the day I started, it was something much more classic all the way. Now it's more bold, but it has always been contemporary. I didn't want people to wear their only their names. You can find these in the souk. I wouldn't say bling, but let it be bold. Let it be seen. Let it be bright. Let it, just...
Let it be proud. Wear it with pride.
You wear it, somebody's going to ask you, what are you? بحبك, I love you. Love, And I find that love is the thread in my work, is something that I talk about a lot. And I find that love brings peace. I've always said that. If we find love, we would love each other. And then obviously we'll find peace in that.
There's obviously not a lot of love right now because there isn't a lot of peace right now in the world.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
So what is the Nadine Kanso's view on the world right now?
We're in a very tough position. We're in very tough times. Obviously, I'm not going to say anything new here. People don't see people as human anymore. I mean, if we look at what's happening in Palestine, and it's something that comes very close to my heart. I come from a household that is very Arab nationalistic, and for us, the Arab world is like we're all one. We're all one heart. We're all one hand, and we have to have that kind of power to be together and move forward. Obviously, with history and time and certain leaders not getting where we want to be, unfortunately. But going back to Palestine, I feel people have no mercy and people have no humanity and have no passion and compassion and nothing, and they're failing. And it hurts. I cannot open my Instagram and see something and I'm like, I'm sure a lot of people are feeling this way. It's like you want to live your life, you don't want to live your life. You feel bad if you're living, but you think of Palestine and see, when you look at whether young kids or older kids, and you look at your kids and just put yourself in place of these people, and it becomes like, you're choking and
it's suffocating.
No one's saying anything. I mean, a lot of people are talking about it. Definitely there's a huge highlight and people recognized Palestine after 75 years of disaster and occupation and apartheid and whatever you want to call it, all the, and finally somebody talks about Palestine, but the price is very high.
When you go to work every day, I know you're very proud, of course, of this region. When you go to work, do you feel you have even additional more purpose than you did, let's say, a few years ago? Does it help fuel you?
Yeah, but I'm still sometimes in a place where I'm really like, it gets to you. And when I say it gets to you, it's like I still up, like we're how many days now? Like 300 days or more, whatever. I do still cry at night and I do cry in the morning. You can't. I mean, just like...
It's difficult. So
it is.
So does it put everything into context in terms of what you're doing, especially now living here in Dubai, right?
It does. Definitely, I'm a voice to do that. But at the same time, we're very censored. We're very careful. We work with... we had, let's say, things in the pipeline with brands that will probably be careful in what you say. And you're always like...
Yeah. Do you feel like you have to keep a lot of stuff inside?
You do, which I feel sad because you have moments where you can say everything out loud, and you have moments where you have to just like be composed.
Have your friends, have your sets of friends changed over the last sort of few months because of that? Are you associating yourself more with certain types of people than you were beforehand?
Most of my people are the same kind of people that I am.
Okay.
And I say I know a lot of people, but not a lot of people are my friends. Not a lot of people come into my circle. The ones that are in my circle are like me. We have a heart, and that heart beats for Palestine and beats for not only Palestine, for anyone who has, difficulties and anywhere in the world.
Correct. And there's a lot of that, not just in Palestine.
100%. And we, unfortunately, we tend to, derive from that or forget about it or come back to it. And it's probably human nature.
I asked a question about, love and peace in the world, and you're very much, and I've watched a lot of your podcasts and I've heard you speak at public events. You're very much about promoting the love aspect and promoting the peace aspect. Do you think you're being successful in doing that? Do you feel like you've actually made a difference and made a change in at least a few people's lives, if not more?
Definitely. I mean, for me, I was never like... One other thing that probably I wanted to do while I'm on this planet is make a difference. Even if it's a 0.00 whatever, is actually be a voice for something, whether it's being proud of who I am as an Arab, whether it be teaching my kids to speak Arabic. And believe me, it's not an easy task.
You're two boys, right? You got two young adults, 24, 26? How old
24 and a half and 26.
Wow. They speak Arabic?
They do speak Arabic. Okay. And even...
أحسن مني يعني.
أحسن منك بكتير.
Nadine, I thought we were... No, we're not vibing.
I'm just like, we're vibing, but I have to say it. My eldest actually told me a few days back, you know what? I'm going to start learning Arabic properly again. And that makes me, proud. You can take the course with him if you want.
Thank you very much. I should.
I'll put you in contact.
So I've got a 1-year-old and I've got a 2-year-old.
Work on that.
My wife is teaching my eldest Arabic, and I'm learning at the same time. But I can say a few words and I can converse. But reading and writing, that's tough, man. Reading and writing is tough.
I know. At least as you converse, just don't lose the language. I think we tend to lose the language, and when you lose a language, you lose... I wouldn't say totally the identity, but you will not have the pleasure of picking up an Arabic book and reading in that language, the nuance of these words and the meaning of... Because not all translations are...
100%. Look, even my family name, right? So it's... My family name is Allam, like the flag, right? But then if I ask you what does pen mean, if I ask you what pain means, so pen, pain, and people. So tell me the difference between flag, pen, people, and pain.
Qalam. Alam. La, they start with three different letters.
Okay, kalam for pen, but you can also say, al-alam. In Lebanese, they say...
If you speak in Darij, which is
yeah.
like the casual Arabic, not al-Fusha,
Yes.
like classic,
Yeah.
definitely you choose some of the letters. Like my name is Kanso with a qaf, and most people say Anso. Okay, خلاص.
Abort. Is that your abort? That's your...
Abort, please.
Okay. Look, it's not easy, but I need to learn. So your two boys are learning Arabic. You're proud
They've
of that.
learned. They're not good at writing they're good at reading and speaking, but probably writing not as much.
But having them to feel a sense of pride from where they're from is super important to you, which I get.
Definitely. And I see with my eldest as well, especially, like, we come from a different school, and obviously with time we've always never had Palestine out of our hearts and minds, at least not for me. And it's a subject that comes often in our household, but we never told them, take a book, read when did this start, how did this start. We thought things are moving a bit forward, and unfortunately thinking that there's going to be peace, although knowing that Zionists will never want peace. So we never really pushed in that direction. But what's happening today, they are reading, they are learning, and they know more information than I do. Which is amazing.
Yeah, that's very good. Your husband, he's half Lebanese, half Czech, is that right?
Yes.
Have you learned any Czech?
Yeah.
You have?
I lived there 3 years. Okay. I learned few
in Prague,
words.
Right? You're living in Prague?
I lived in Prague for 3 years after moving from Montreal.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful city.
It is a beautiful city.
It is. It was quite intense. So
okay, and
I'm not going to conversate in Czech with you.
No, is it hard?
This is going to be a bore.
Is it a hard language to learn?
It is a very hard language.
It is. Have you ever thought about doing Czech calligraphy or typography?
No.
To extend your Nadine branch into Eastern Europe? Not something of interest. No. So, how many pieces of jewelry do you actually own? How many right now at home?
Oh my God!
Like, give me a number.
I'm not going to tell you.
No. But give me is it? Are we in the hundreds? Are we in the thousands? What are we talking?
No, not in the thousands. I would say
high hundreds.
100.
High hundreds. Okay.
But I have more in the office, obviously.
Of course you do. And do you design?
And I'm allowed to borrow stuff.
Yeah, and you're allowed to give people discounts as well. Like huge discounts.
This on air, I'm not going to tell you that. Hello.
Like I've got birthdays coming up. Christmas is always around the corner.
Later. Yeah, again, aboard.
نحكي 100%. Jewelry is premium though, right? It's expensive.
Expensive is
speaking.
All relative.
Yeah,
I mean, if you compare me to other brands, no, I'm not. If you compare me to the souk, yes, I am.
Okay.
But I'm not a designer from the souk.
How would you justify, and how do you justify your positioning in the market when you're going out and selling your pieces?
How I position? I mean, I have 18 years of experience, a lot of hard work, a lot of time put in, a lot of creativity, a lot of money spent, a lot of learning. All of that, people sometimes don't think that you should put that into the price. But yes, you do. And you have employees that you pay, high salaries, you have rents that you pay, and all of that. It doesn't come cheap. And people think because you're like a regional designer that your prices should not be high or...
But you're personally involved in all of the pieces.
I design everything. I do the calligraphy for all of them. And obviously, we get a lot of samples, and then they come to the office. Sometimes I try them if I'm not sure about how they fit or if I like them.
Yeah.
Do some modification on them, whether before they are produced or after they're produced, and then we take the collection forward.
You started with a piece which was your letter N, right? That's how it all started for you.
True.
So you do all letters, right?
We do all letters.
Is there a best-selling letter that people are asking for?
Yeah, of course.
Is it Z?
Of course not.
It's not Z?
No.
Why? Okay. So what is the most popular letter that you design?
Ayn, Mim.
Okay.
Alif. Ayn, Mim, Alif. Sin.
Your inspiration from other artists, either photographers or other designers, do you look at other people much, or do you sort of say, you know what? Let them do what they want to do?
I mean, obviously, as human beings, sometimes when you look at, let's say, Instagram, magazine, you travel, your brain definitely captures things. And no matter how, I think with experience and time, this is what I realize. It's like it's in the back of your mind. And this is when they tell me, how do you get inspired, whatever. Sometimes I have something like now we're launching a collection soon, and I've produced it like 3 years ago. And I thought about it maybe a year before. So it's all in the back, and it comes out when you sketch, when you see something else that triggers it again. And somehow it should be inspired from somewhere.
How much do you care about people's opinion on the work that you do? How much does it affect you, honestly speaking?
When I create, I don't care, because you have to go with your gut. If you don't go with your gut, then all these 18 years of work, what did you do? This is why people come to you, because what you've done, and your DNA, how strong that DNA is, and how true it is, and how long have you been doing what you're doing. So it's not something that you've started for a year and two, and then you dropped and went on and did something totally different.
Do you want to do something different? Do you see you carrying on with what you're doing at the moment? Are you still enjoying it? You're still loving
definitely.
it?
I still enjoy it. I love it. If I want to diversify my business, that's another story. Probably I will, once, now that I have a better team working with me, so I can actually delegate more, and then go back to my photography, which I haven't done in a few years.
Is it easy to take a good photo?
And for me, it's a feeling. And it's an aesthetic that you see in your eyes. I can't explain it, but I mean, I can come and look at your table and you'll see me. We'll go back to
good luck trying to move it, by the way.
Yeah, not moving it, but like I'll see these, cones, and then I want to just like shift it slightly.
Yeah.
So that you can see through your lens when you're taking that picture. Whether you move your frame this way or that way, take it up, take it down.
Yeah.
Wait for the movement, wait for that smile, smirk, whatever.
Do you trust your husband taking a photo of you?
No.
Your kids?
I love you, Aziz. My kids, yeah.
You trust your kids taking a photo of you, but not your husband?
He doesn't like to take pictures, nor...
Yeah, not many husbands do. I'm not.
No, not even when we take pictures of him, he doesn't like it.
He doesn't like it.
No.
Are your boys? Are they getting into this kind of line of work as well? Are they in the creative space? Are they doing something totally different?
Both of them are in sports.
Okay.
They love it, and they do take interest in my work. One of them is more creative and more on the fashion side of things, which he's a football player in Canada.
Very nice.
He's a professional one. That's the younger one. The eldest, Amr, is in Dubai. He looks at my business and gives me advice, and I do listen to him.
Yeah.
So which is great.
I had a conversation with both of them. Imagine they can both squeeze onto that chair, and I asked them, what's your mum?
That's cute.
Yeah, what's your mum like? What would they tell me?
They'll be proud, definitely, because they always tell me that, and that I'm a cool mom. And they would say, thank God we have you and Pops to be the way you brought us up. I always hear that, which is nice to hear, because usually kids are not vocal about that. Obviously, we've messed up somewhere, somehow on the way there. But I think the more they grow up, they realize what kind of environment we gave them. We've always talked about things. We've always encouraged them. We always gave them their space. Obviously, with keeping them grounded and keeping them in their places. And
I guess the principles that you have as well, that we pass that on. Has it been easy for you to, because look, they're old now, right? 26, 24, and you sort of had them more or less when you were starting your business. Was it difficult for you to...
Yeah.
Was it difficult for you to manage both and invest enough time and energy into both? Did you feel you had to make some sacrifices?
Obviously, for the longest time, I was working from home. When they come back from school, they would be studying or eating. I'll be in the garage working, or in the guest bedroom at the time, and I would hear them. I'll keep my ear there and take them to soccer, bring them back, drop them. So, I was like around and not around kind of a thing. So that, I think, was a good thing.
Did you feel you were breaking some stereotypes, being able to be a successful Arab female entrepreneur, business owner, as well as being able to have kids at the same time?
I always tell people, if you have something you want to do, just do it. Even if you have kids, you have to balance things out. It's not always the easy, you have to travel sometimes. You have to have the right support, and sometimes you're not there for certain things, but this is life. I mean, everyone has to help, one another. I would say definitely go to work, and definitely do. The kids will grow, and they will leave home, and they will have their own families, and they'll, travel, whatever. You end up looking, at yourself like, oh my God, I'm in my mid-50s or whatever, early 50s. I haven't done anything. And then the guilt starts. The guilt of leaving them is something, and the guilt of you not achieving what you wanted to. And the regret. Yeah. So every woman should work. I mean, if she can and if she wants to.
So they call it empty nesting, right? So once the kids leave. Did it change your relationship with your husband once they left?
He was also away.
So it didn't really change that much then, I'm guessing.
No, I mean...
Is he here in Dubai?
He is in Dubai, but when the kids left, that just 4 years before they leave, actually he was in Iraq most of the time. So he'd come on the weekend, and when they left, he came back. There was like I would say 3-4 months apart, and this is where I'm like, oh my God, really, the house is empty. And
that silence.
That silence is a killer. So what I used to do, if you want to know what I used to do, I would go to work a bit late, around 11, work until, let's say, 6, 7. If I had an event, go to the event or dinner or whatever, come back at 10, 11 at home, sleep and wake up. So I don't hear that silence.
You minimize the time that you're
exactly.
alone. Being alone worry you?
Being alone, no, it doesn't. I love people. I love having people around. I should say it does worry me. Yeah.
Okay. Why does it worry you?
I think with age, it worries you. You start thinking of your family, your parents, when they're growing older, they're in, they're away. And then you start saying like, maybe I should be there more often. So you do that scenario for yourself.
A bit of guilt, perhaps?
A bit of guilt, but also it's like, are they alone? Are they okay? Even when they have people around them. So you start projecting that on yourself and saying, am I going to be the same when I'm at an older stage? Will my kids be next to me as much as I'm, or I'm away from my mom?
Which I think is a normal thing, right?
It is a normal thing. We need to make an effort, I have to say.
I think especially, I don't know how it's like with you, but with me in Dubai, if someone lives downtown and that 20-minute drive to go and see them, that's making an effort. Yeah. True. For example, in Lebanon, you would go drive 2 hours
all the way to the south
to see someone, and it's absolutely fine. So it's
although
just
you have much more traffic sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It will take a much longer, but that extra time is worth the effort. Whereas here, it's kind of a little bit more dismissed. And I think a lot of people that first come to Dubai can get a little bit lonely sometimes. They make a lot of friends, but then they change friends very quickly and they get into a new group.
I think especially lately in the last, I would say, 10 years, the city grew so much, and I think you have a lot of pockets in the city, a lot of people, new people, and it's a very, busy place. When we came 24 years ago, it was, just like few buildings, few restaurants. You would go to Deira to have a nice meal. And no, there was nothing on this side.
But we're very fortunate to be here. You mentioned we spoke.
100%.
We spoke before. How long have I been here?
Yeah.
You knew the question that was coming. That's why you deflected. We're going to come back to it. So I've been here. I came in 2010.
Okay.
I was a fresh-faced 28-year-old. And like everybody else, I wanted to come for a couple of years. I left the UK. I was living in the UK.
We all did that. 2 years, 5 years, and then 24 years later.
It's 14 for me, and it's just like...
And you were in a totally different business, right?
Completely different. I was working in a media agency, actually.
Cool.
I worked there for quite some time. Now I launched this a few months back, and I think most of the changes in my life have sort of happened in a relatively short period of time. I was kind of going on a very, not conservative, but I was on a cautious track. I was on a cautious track. Then recently, I got married, had 2 beautiful boys.
Amazing.
Changed jobs, launched this. And so a lot of changes have happened. And
how is it being a dad? They're still young.
They are still young.
We'll talk another time when they're slightly older.
100%. But look, I think one of the things I didn't realize was no one really prepared me for what it's like to be a dad.
They never do.
The financial burden,
the
mental burden, feeling that you're always going to have to be the one providing, even though you're not. And my wife is a more than very capable, competent, and professional lady who brings in a lot of bacon from her side, which is great. But it's still that stereotype where the Arab male still needs to feel that. So no one really prepared you for that. And I think
nobody does.
Also, you watch Hollywood movies and they say every time you hold your baby for the first time, you get overwhelmed with so much emotion. I personally didn't. I held my son and it was a nice moment, but it was a surreal moment. It was like, okay, this is weird. I'm now a dad and he belongs to me. so I've got to look
I'm
after
responsible.
him. But I didn't have that, oh my God, I'm massively falling in love. So I started
you
to
don't,
worry.
you don't.
Yeah, I was, because no one prepares you for that.
No.
And then a couple of years later, I'm not that I'm an expert, but you fall in love a little bit more each day with your kids.
You'll see once they start talking and conversate and debates on the lunch table or dinner table, that's going to be a lot of fun.
So my eldest is nearly 3. He's definitely in his the terrible 2s stage, and he is extremely terrible, but he's also adorable at the same time. But going back to what I was saying, you were a tomboy when you were younger. When we had this discussion.
Not a lot, but yeah.
Are you still a tomboy?
No. Although I'm like, today that's
au contraire, Nadine, au contraire.
Oh, please.
But you look fabulous regarding. Right, it's part of the show. It's Insight Time, where I get you to open up this bag. In the bag, there's a bunch of questions. Read out the question and put the ball somewhere on the table. Hopefully it's not going to fall off.
Oh.
And have some fun with it.
What kind of balls are these?
They're golf balls with questions wrapped around
Why
them.
are they golf balls?
Because I'm a golfer. I love playing golf. Plus, I thought about what other balls can I put in there.
When my son, now I'm going to remove my cool glasses.
Oh, look at this.
And put my reading glasses.
Amazing.
Because your font is so small.
This signifies the second half of the show, everybody. New glasses are on. Fantastic.
Yeah. Do you like them?
I think fabulous.
Imitation is a flattery or creativity killer?
So is it a creativity killer? When people are
no, actually.
Or can you still be creative from imitating other people?
It isn't.
It isn't. But, okay.
If you imitate me today, I'll make sure that... Anyway, whoever...
You won't live.
That too.
I will kill you.
But the thing is, when somebody imitates you, is obviously they're not creative enough. So that, in a way, you rest your case there.
Yeah.
Because they'll imitate you to a certain degree. They will do the basic, what you've done years back. There's a fine line between copying someone and being inspired by someone. So I can tell you a lot about this.
No, a lot of people imitate you, right? That's a form of flattery. That's a big form of flattery, isn't it?
Yes and no, because at the end of the day, when you work hard and you've put so much money and time into your business, for someone to see your success and just take it and go with it, especially when you're not at the, if I would say, I want to name any like one of these big brands, I don't know, Cartier or Van Cleef, whatever. These have a huge amount of money behind them, a huge legal entities behind them. So they can go after someone copying them or, coming close to what they... In our cases, we're mid-range. That will take a lot of hard work to just like make sure guys... And it's a small market at the end of the day. Why would you want to come into the community or the market where people are known and just do something about it? That's pure evil. That's not flattery.
There are famous brands that would get knocked off. You see them in China.
Everywhere.
And in Istanbul. And they deliberately almost misspell it as well. So Prada becomes Prado and all that kind of stuff.
You have...
But it looks exactly the same.
Yeah, but you know with IP how it goes.
Yeah, I do. Right, next question.
Does your husband still buy you jewellery? No.
He is a lucky man, but he's also, I was thinking about this the other day. What do you buy Nadine as jewellery?
A jewellery, no, you can buy me a watch.
Okay, is a watch jewellery?
I would say.
Think about it from his perspective, right? You've been married for 28 years. How many years have you been married?
30.
30 years, right? He's been married to you 30 years. You've had 30 birthdays, 30 Christmases, 30 Valentine's days or whatever.
Listen, we're cool this way.
Yeah, but
if I like something, I'll tell him.
But jewelry, he doesn't buy you jewelry.
No.
You won't allow him to, or he doesn't feel he should?
No, I mean, I don't wear anything else but Arabi. Rarely I would wear something else unless I had bought it long time back. So people who would get me jewelry, I mean, I'm like, really?
If someone was to buy you another brand jewelry, what would you choose?
I have to love the piece. It's not about the brand. So if I like something from Bulgari or whatever, it has to be something that talks to me. Why did I like it? Is it because of its colored stone? Is it because of its design? Is it, does it mean something to me? It's not because it's just like...
How would you describe your own jewelry in just a few words, right? So
I would say a character. So obviously identity. I would say bold. I would say...
Colorful?
Timeless.
Timeless. Yeah, because when I see your pieces, I see it as definitely as bold. I see it as very, it can be quite big sometimes. You have very big pieces.
I do.
Very noticeable. I think maybe that goes under the bold category. And color, you use a lot of color as well.
I use color recently more, but I think timeless would be a good word, because I look at friends that or clients that bought my work 18 years back, and when I see them today wearing them, or even if I wear from my own stock, like something I've done for myself, and it's still as good as,
So do you design jewelry? I know you obviously have a men's line, but do you design also for your husband? Do you give him special little cheeky pieces?
No, he's not big on that.
No?
No, he's a very simple man.
Okay.
I'm the wild one. Wild is a big word, but like I'm, the creative one.
Yeah.
I like fashion. He's very chill.
Because I was having a conversation with Rasha before you joined. I was thinking, from a husband's perspective, you must be the toughest person to shop for. You've got
You can get me cigars.
Okay.
You can get me a cigar box.
Yeah, but you can't get that for you all the time.
Yeah, of course. All the time,
yeah. But that's what I mean. You're a photographer. You're a designer. You have jewelry. I mean, you're a man's nightmare when it comes to gifting.
I am. And I like that.
But he's lucky. If you make it easy for him, then I'm very, very...
And I don't need gifts all the time.
Ready for the next ball?
AI, smartphones equal photography killers.
Is AI and smartphones killing photography?
I wouldn't say that. I'm not a big fan of AI yet, because maybe I don't know how to kind of manage it 100%. I think evolution of where we are, and like obviously with social media, if we go back to what we knew before and what we know today, and how things are moving forward, and how are some voices heard all over the globe, you would say this is an amazing thing. It's an easier way, so anyone can be a photographer. So it is harder for artist photographer to shine.
And to make a living.
Exactly. So how can you balance that? How can you...
So it's more accessible, but it's also at the same time, it's killing a profession.
It is killing a profession, but it's a subject that we're talking about not long ago, a few days back, with people from Instagram, Google, and Microsoft, with other creatives. We had a small dinner, and this came out. It's a subject that everyone asks about. You don't want to be the old school dinosaur kind of a thing. You want to keep on moving with that, but it is scary. To where is this taking us? Is it going to be replacing all of us? Which I don't think so, because at the end of the day, you have to feed that. Okay, fine, we're feeding it too much and it has a lot of information, but there's another level to AI, which we don't know. This is the scary part, where we're going with that. That's my thing. It does kill things, but it also can help photographers. I have a friend of mine who's a photographer. He uses AI to give me a mood board. So, voila.
Like this.
You see, you've done a beautiful work.
Yeah, I won't take the credit, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Rasha.
Yeah, indeed. So, because I want to talk a little bit more about this. If I showed you a photo, could you tell the difference between if a human took it or if it was AI generated? You can tell the difference.
Yeah, the light. Yeah.
You're confident.
I hope.
Would you put a piece of jewelry on it?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I don't know. It has to be really super cool. That would really kind of like touch my aesthetics. Then maybe yes.
Okay.
I've met somebody who does amazing AI in Italy. We were on the same panel, and she does beautiful work. And I was like, please, let's do something together, because she did an amazing... But that's a mood. I don't want to just like do all my thing in...
Don't you feel like we're getting into a world now where the whole deep fake, what's real, what's not, what you see on social...
Deep fake is scary.
It's worrying, right? And you think, so when you see a piece of art now, and the NFTs played along with this for a while. It's not as big as it once was, let's say, in terms of discussion point, but it was this...
I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, but that's a slightly different world as well when it comes to the virtual space. But at least that's kind of real within the virtual space. AI adds a whole new level of complexity. So now, what is art? What's art going to look like in the future? And how do you take the best of human and the best of tech to deliver an art piece? Is that the future? Is that what it's going to look like?
We have to wait and see. I mean, I don't know. I'm not big on that. I can't really, tell you about it. But I still feel when you work with your own hands, a lot of people go back to photography, to negatives and, not digital and...
Kodak, the classic. Yeah,
exactly. And now you see even the younger guys having these disposable, whatever. I think there's a beautiful thing to what you use with your hands, how you, we're humans at the end of the day. We need that.
We do. We're tangible beings.
It's sad when you see everyone going totally giving kids, tablets from younger age. They have no room to be bored, to think for themselves. And
climate tree.
Yeah, or take anything from the garden and try to weave it into something, or even like draw on a pen and a paper. I love pen and paper.
Yeah, old school. I love it.
Yeah.
Me too, by the way. I suck at drawing. Would you ever use AI to create new designs alongside yourself?
I haven't done,
Okay.
but I have to say my niece who works with me, she's good at that and she helps me with that. So we use chat GPT sometimes. We do use AI.
Okay, very nice. Ready for next ball?
Yeah. Use words or take action. Use words or take action.
You're famous for the words that you use, the typography,
Okay.
calligraphy. You know, you're using words to get across a message.
True.
So is it more important to focus on that side of the aspect, or is it to take action in order to try and make change?
I think you have to combine both. If my work is mostly in words, because this is what I do, whether calligraphy, rings, you put something that is, conversation starter, your message throughout the years, I think it will impact. Obviously, when you want to be, if things are fine, eventually we're going to go back to Palestine and things are good on the ground. I would love to go personally and work on the ground.
I don't usually, if you watch some of the episodes, generally speaking, I don't allow guests to sort of sit on the fence and say both. So I'm going to press you on this because
I will use words.
Yeah, because the reason I wanted you to say that, because I believe words are extremely powerful. People follow leaders who know how to master
100%.
language. If you look back in history, whether you're a fascist dictator, whether you're a benevolent leader like Mandela, the use of words can help people create action and deliver action. And you've made your living out of using words.
And I hope I made some changes. I hope somehow, somewhere,
yeah,
someone.
They're very powerful, but in the wrong mouth, they can be extremely dangerous.
100%.
And if you look at some of the world leaders right now, we don't have the best.
No.
At a time where we need it.
I think we're at the worst.
Yeah, like at a time where we need it the most, we have people who don't know how to use words properly.
Now, obviously, when you have bad leaders, you're going to get where you get today. They allowed this to happen. They allowed us to get to this place, and they're not doing anything about it.
I like that. All right, next question.
What is to be an Arab? What is it to be
an Arab?
For me, it's being proud of my identity. Which is the Arab identity, my heritage, my culture, the words I use, my history, everything.
Because one of the reasons you created Arabi was to bring that pride back to the region. Right?
Yeah, I felt.
But what is it? But what are you representing?
For me, I felt that we're drifting away. We are not speaking our language. We're not speaking in Arabic any longer. We're not using our words. Our kids are not learning their language. And history is getting lost. So for me, it's like, no, let's bring at least that part. And when I started doing this, was not into jewelry. It was in my photography. My first exhibition was called Min Ana, who I am. It started with a question and it became like who I am, as in who I am today. And I had taken pictures of different Arab friends of mine from Saudi, from Lebanon, from the Emirates, Palestine. And I made them hold احكيني بالعربي. Talk to me in Arabic. حبي عربي. My love is Arabic. مستقبلي عربي. My future is Arabic. فكري عربي. So today, all of these things make you who you are. So your thinking should be, Arab, your heritage. Looking back, learning, because we did so much for this, civilization, if you want. Whether it be all these big names that started medicine, physics, you name it. We were at the forefront of all of that. Obviously, a lot of people don't know that. So obviously, I cannot bring that back. We're not there. But my words, going back to the word in Arabic, would at least make you think or read or learn something about where is this coming from. A lot of foreigners living in Dubai, in the UAE, or even in this part of the world, they come to me wanting their names in Arabic, wanting a word, whether it's hub, silm, like peace, any word. Why? Because they've learned the culture, they understood the region, and they relate to it. Somebody elsewhere doesn't do that. I mean, I would love to be elsewhere to have my voice even more globally heard. Other people have their own ways of doing so. But, I'll do as much as I can with the space that I have.
You mentioned it started with exhibition around who am I or who I am. Is the person you are today very different from that person back then?
No. Not at all. I'm very true, and I mean, nobody would like to blow their own horns, but I had a friend today who sent me a message saying, Nadine, you're one of the truest person. Like, I've known you from like 15 years. You've always kept your kind of cool, your identity.
You've been grounded.
And grounded in who you are. So basically, I will always vouch for, people speaking Arabic. I will always stand by somebody who needs, support. I will always be proud of who I am and who my kids want to be in being Arabs. I'm not going to say the word that, like, we're in a really bad place, but obviously there's hope. Obviously, people like me, and even on a larger scale, whether in politics, arts, any kind of expression, to keep highlighting these things, your heritage, your culture, your language, anything is always a plus, is always a step forward.
Very nice. On the ball?
The 4 C's. Which matters most?
Okay, so in jewellery, I don't know much about jewellery, but in diamonds, you have the 4 C's, right?
Of course.
You got the colour, the clarity, the cut,
Carat.
and the carat. Right? Which is the most important?
I would say clarity.
Clarity.
I think clarity resonates more. People say cut because depending on the cut, you can see the light where it comes and how it goes. But I would think clarity would resonate more with me.
Okay, why clarity and not carat?
Clarity on a wider, understanding of the word resonates with me.
Okay.
Because I would like to always have things clear. I think you can move forward easier when you have things clear.
Do you have clarity in your life?
I do. Not always. Obviously, like everyone.
What are you most clear about?
I am clear about that I'm gonna die.
Okay, it's very morbid.
I mean, clear. It's the only certainty, right? I know it's morbid, but this is the only thing that you have no control of anything.
Yeah.
If I tell you I have clarity of what I'm gonna do tomorrow, okay, fine, but might not have tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm very
we like
pragmatic.
to raise people's spirits on the inside track.
No, come on. I mean, not to be morbid, but really, I mean, if you tell me 5 years from now.
So do you live your life based on knowing that that's going to happen? So because it's easy to say.
I try.
You try and live each day like it could be the last?
I'm not going to party all day and I'm not going to be like out about it. But I'm very active. I see friends. I make effort. Maybe not when I'm very busy, unfortunately. But so along the way, you might lose some friends.
Yeah.
But
Would you drive 20 minutes downtown to see a friend?
Yeah.
Like you would do that?
Not in the rush hour, though.
Not in the rush hour. Another ball.
The one Arab stereotype you want to overcome.
So you talked a lot about 9/11 and the stereotypes and around that. So what is that one Arab stereotype that you would love to smash, you'd love to overcome?
All of us being kind of terrorists and having people being Islamophobic and, all of that.
Isn't it sad that in 2024 it's still
100%.
It's still a conversation?
It's so sad. It's so sad. It's like people don't read or people don't educate themselves and maybe it's
Is it them or is it what they're being told and shown and not shown?
It takes two to tango. I mean, you want to just follow and be a follower and not know. Yeah. You hear something and you react to it without knowing why.
Do you think things have changed recently in light of what's happening in Palestine? People are trying to learn more?
The younger generation, definitely.
Do you have more hope for the younger generation?
I do.
But do you worry about
I was worried about them for other things, like, not being active or being on behind their screens and being entitled and being all of that and not putting like the effort into anything. But now their voices are...
So what will it take for the stereotypes, the same stereotypes that you mentioned, to be changed?
We need to love each other and learn more about each other. It's as simple as that.
Do you think that gap is widening every year?
Unfortunately, yes.
Isn't that weird?
It's so weird.
Isn't it depressing?
It is depressing, and we go back to leaders.
Yeah.
And by leaders, we choose them. So, and media feeds into that and feeds you wrong information. And if you don't do your homework properly, you might be carried away.
You know what's crazy is that, going back a long, long time ago, when we were cavemen, you were in little tribes, right? And there was a village next door, literally half a mile down the road, they would be your sworn enemy, right? We somehow reverted back to that, where if you're not from within our sort of area, anyone who's far away, distanced, all of a sudden becomes unknown and becomes a potential threat.
There's no mercy in the world, I swear. There's no heart. I mean, some people do have. I hope more of them will be more vocal about it. You were telling me about the mugs, and you spoke about Joelle. Joelle has a huge heart. You know, she speaks about everything, and then we need true people like
She
her.
wears her heart on her sleeve.
Definitely.
That's what I told her. And she's extremely passionate about so many things.
100%.
She's a lovely lady.
And she doesn't. We have an issue with censoring, and I censor myself at times, just like making sure that everyone is like happy and fine. But we realize today that they don't care about us. Why are we so caring about them? But if we're gonna be like them, it's end of the world.
Yeah. The message is always you can't control what other people say. You can't control what other people do. You can only take care about what you say and what you do. So if you focus on yourself and to deliver the right message and with the right action.
And more so. And obviously make sure that your family does the same. Your kids do the same.
It's going to sound very big and deep, and I don't necessarily want to go into it, but are we losing our humanity?
What we've seen the last year, it opened so many unwanted doors. And when you have huge, like the States, the US, I mean, when you look at their debate not long back, and the superpower have only these two people to rule the world?
Those are your options.
Why? Why? How many million people? I mean, like, why?
Time for another ball.
Yeah. Purpose over talent or talent over purpose?
Okay, so is it more important to have purpose or is it more important to have talent?
Talent will get you, even if the journey is very slow, you will get to your purpose.
Does everyone have talent?
No.
Does everyone
and people should assume and not over, think that they're creative when they're not.
Does everyone have purpose?
They should as well.
They should, but do they?
No, as well.
Some people don't have that. They over time they learn a little bit more and they create their own purpose. Did you always have it? Did you create it?
I was gonna ask you the same question. Did you always have purpose?
I told you. I think
because you've changed your career.
Yeah. Look, I think in the last few years, my life has really changed in a good way. I'm so grateful that I decided to do what I've done. Getting married, having children, leaving my role. I was running a big company. I was a CEO, and I joined another company. But I wanted to allow myself to focus more on things like this, passion projects, things that I generally like. What I love most is I love people. I love talking to people. I love understanding people, bonding with them, vibing with them.
We're going to be BFFs.
Yeah, and I'm going to get I'm going to get a lot of free jewelry, so I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
So I feel like every time I do things like this, my purpose becomes a bit clearer. I love talking, but I love listening, and I love being able to give positive messages out into the world because I generally don't feel there is enough. There's not enough real conversations with real people.
Yeah,
everything is clickbait, everything is fake, everything is this.
Everyone taps just on the surface.
But I'm old school, right? So that's why we're shooting in my house. We're shooting two people having a conversation that's unscripted, except for my bag of balls during Inside Time. And it's one take because I want to capture real moments. And I think this is what it's all about. And the more I do this, the more I realize this is actually my purpose. This is what I enjoy the most. And I get a buzz out of it. And something that makes you feel good and you're passionate about means you're on the right lines.
Yeah, definitely. For me, it was talent. Obviously, I had a purpose, and my talent totally helped that purpose. Eye for detail or devil in the detail?
It's a nice question. So is eye for detail or is it devil in the detail? So eye for detail is when you said you were over here and you said, you know what, I would take that and I would move it. The devil in the detail is when you're crafting something and you're building something and really going into that really granular approach to deliver the best possible product or item. Which one is it? Which is more important?
They're both important, obviously, because you have a product. But as a designer, it's the eye for the detail.
Well, you're a photographer as well, which makes sense.
Yeah.
That's your native.
And usually this is, not everyone has the eye for the detail. And this is what makes you different and better at what you do. So whether you're an interior designer, especially in the creative world, I think the eye for detail is very important. Once the product is finished, you're going to look at it and you're going to have that eye and then you're going to send it back. It's like, polish it here, do that here. This is not nice.
Has anyone given you something where you didn't actually have to make any changes? Has that ever happened?
In jewelry, you mean?
Anything.
Anything?
Yeah, that you think, you know what, I wouldn't have changed a single thing on that. It's perfect as it is.
I mean, if it's given to me, that means I have to make a change. But actually, no. Now I remember.
Here we go.
I have a friend of mine.
Yeah.
Mirna, if you see this, that's for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes she gives me jewelry and she had it from a long time back, or it used to be her mom's. I say, please don't do anything to this piece. Just like keep it.
When you wake up every day and you put on your outfit, you're going to wear what you're going to wear. Do you know what you're going to wear?
It's a mood. It's a mood.
So you don't know. You wake up and you decide, I'm going to wear this, I'm going to put this on, and match this with this.
Even when I have big events, I'm like, I have friends, I'm wearing this and this. What are you wearing? I was like, I have no clue.
Yeah.
I'll get home, I'll open my closet, and I think especially when you wear something, it's like what you feel that day. You have to be comfortable in what you're wearing. So actually, when you go out, you own it.
Do you feel like you critique yourself more than anyone else?
Definitely, by far.
Does that help make you better? Does it?
I think
keeps
so.
you grounded? Why'd you do it?
It keeps me grounded, definitely. It makes me look at things differently to make a better, whether a better collection, think outside the box a bit. It's, definitely.
I'm very happy to have met you.
Oh, thank you.
Properly, face to face.
I'm going to put my
the glasses back on.
again.
I love your vibe. I love the way you come across.
Thank you.
You're very much in control of who you are, what you stand for.
Alhamdulillah.
And I love that. And I think a lot of people can learn from you. Before we wrap up, over your journey, over time, launching your business, moving to different countries, the state of the world as it currently is in the moment, what's the biggest insight that you've learned about yourself?
It's like being grounded. I think it's always a good thing. It's not something you can teach to people, to others. I would really appreciate if people are more grounded and not all you get to make money, you get to be famous, you get to be successful. All of that is when you, again, we're going to be not being morbid, when you exit this earth, what is left? You're not taking anything with you, right? You indulge, which is nice. You want to look cool, you want to have cool glasses, whatever it is. You want to wear cool jewelry.
You're going to be blinged up, aren't you? Yeah. I can see it now.
You're making money. You want to spend it. Good for you. When you make, you have to give back. But when you exit, is this conversation? Did it strike? Did I leave with you? What did you leave with me? And this is what you're going to remember.
I'm going to remember a lot. Nadine, it's been fantastic having you on the show.
Here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. Guys, please like, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for the next episode of The Inside Track. Thank you so much.